Sarah, I want to fade away, be with the stars in outer space. You come and you go, you take me high, you take me low, but I don't know how to do this on my own anymore. Oh no, now it's my leave for the melancholy. Couldn't fill a hole inside me. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. Now it's Xannies till I numb my psyche. Cocaine just to feel my heartbeat. Nothing to lose, nothing to gain. Sarah, I lost myself today trying to find ways to make you stay. Sarah, I want to go away, close my eyes, never wake up again. You come and you go, you take me high, you take me low, but I don't know how to do this on my own anymore. Oh no, now it's my leave for the melancholy. Couldn't fill a hole inside me. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. Now it's Xannies till I numb my psyche. Cocaine just to feel my heartbeat. Nothing to lose.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, Gaming Malta, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, CS Money, MSI, Air Force, GG Bet, and ESEA.
Mousesports look to tangle with the OG squad over here, not to be confused with the EG squad, as some people have finally realized that they are two different teams. And no, that's not Optic Gaming. We're talking about Flowers here in the studio, growing, potted up, and ready to go, ready to bud here against Mousesports. Welcome back, everybody, to the ESL Pro League Season 11. We just caught a banger of Navi versus Astralis, and now we get to focus our attention on this matchup at hand. We have Harry and Hugo here. Welcome back, everybody. And now you guys can begin to, I guess, divulge into this one. We already had just kind of like what it felt like, sort of like the high point, the climax.
The hot match.
And then, the hot match. And then now we kind of bring it back down a little bit, but we're still in a very important matchup.
Yeah, I don't think this one's going to be a sleeper at the wheel, Trace. This one's going to be exciting. Again, another 3-map potentially here for this series. Mousesports OG, they obviously took each other on earlier in the Pro League. They played just a few days ago, and that was a series win for OG despite Mousesports taking the opening map. So we know these two teams are competitive. 2 international squads, one newer to the party, one older. And of course, I wouldn't say the grudge match really, but Issa and Woxic against each other, that's kind of a cool storyline. Those guys used to be, such good buddies back in the Mousesports temple.
Yeah. Well, Harry, I'm going to let you finish, but first, I need to go ahead and get this format back up here. No, that wasn't some sort of Kanye-esque, but maybe it was. Who knows? Let's talk a little about the format and how we got these teams up to this point. Hugo, I mean, you seem to be a specialist at this. What do you think?
Yeah, let me give you the breakdown. 3 round-robin groups over in the EU region. Top of the group, you can see Astralis, Navi, Mousesports headed straight to the second stage. Well, teams have got to join them, and teams did join them yesterday. Those second and third place teams from the group battled in a single best-of-3 elimination match to qualify for this stage 2. Those winners were FaZe, Fnatic, OG. And well, we're going to be able to see the latter of which play today. OG taking on, of course, the top of Group D that was Mousesports. It's quite an interesting one. Another round-robin group here in stage 2. We're going to be seeing the top 4 of that go through to the semi-finals and then play your standard bracket to close it out to find out the winner of ESL Pro League Season 11.
Let's start to talk about this Mousesports side a little bit more in depth. I do believe we're going to have that opportunity to speak to one of the players, but for the time being, we need to kind of come full circle on our end as to what's going on in their camp. We know that they had some successes. Even at the beginning of the year in London, they found some success, but where are they now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Mousesports are in a bad spot by any stretch. I think they're looking good, right? Coming into the Pro League, they looked pretty decent out of the gate. They were good enough to go ahead and top their group, right? And then things have gotten pretty sweet for the Mousesports gang. You know, I think coming into this one, 2 international squads, obviously. Mousesports being the more experienced, the more tenured in that regard. And we know that in terms of stacking up in this matchup against OG, something that OG have struggled with is this movement over to being an international team, which is kind of uncharted waters for a good few of these guys. You know, for Mouse, they won Pro League last season, right? We saw that, the grand finals, but they're able to take it. And you know, I think this squad hasn't even begun to peak yet, honestly.
Yeah, and this is a team that the world rankings from ESL have put at number 2. Now, I mean, we just talked a little bit about how it was, you know, an Astralis and Navi battle for number 1, but now we look at what is really a number 2. Is this really a team that stands that sort of stature?
Yeah, without a doubt, right? We've already seen the tournament victories that Mousesports have taken. You talked about it yourself, the Pro League finals. They just closed out last season. So, you know, there's no doubt about Mousesports and the ability to perform on the Tier 1 stage. It's about keeping it up and taking it throughout 2020. Obviously, the scene is in a turbulent time right now. We don't have LANs, and I wonder if that's going to play to Mousesports' benefit or hold them back. Some teams prefer online play more than others.
Yeah, and speaking of playing online, that's one thing we're going to get to witness here from the side of Mousesports. We do have that interview that I did promise you. His name's going to be Kerrigan. He's in the wall right now. Mr. Finn, welcome back.
Thank you. How are you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good. Did you catch any of the game we just watched there, Navi Astralis?
Yeah, I saw the end of the game. It was quite convincing victory for Navi, I must say. So interesting result to begin with this group stage.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, you know, Astralis faltering there. You know, there's got to be a little bit of hit for all the Danes all around the world, but it probably feels pretty good for you, I'd imagine.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? The group stage is really competitive, so I'm just happy to be part of it, and hopefully we will get the top 3 spot to move on for the playoffs.
Yeah, and luckily for you, they have your copy pasta right there, so we don't have to say it today. We can just kind of reflect the fact that it does exist. You know, you weren't one of the classic nerdy computer kids. What we do have are 2 of those right here on site. Yeah. They're willing to ask the questions too.
Yeah, Finn, I was wondering, you know, you guys along with Astralis have been one of the teams that we've seen trying to play around this Krieg meta a bit. You know, what are your thoughts on that, and what are kind of the precautions in the Mousesports camp when it comes to buying that gun over on the T side?
Yeah, I think obviously SG is really good weapon. So once you buy it, and what you did in the beginning of the meta was that people didn't really know how to abuse it really good as CT side, right? But that changed really quickly, I think. And I think we together with Astralis decided maybe that it's time to kind of play it less. Me and Chris didn't play it so much the last few months, because obviously when you're the first guy in, it's really hard sometimes to control these scenarios, right? But I think players like Frozen and Robs is really good with the weapons, so there's a balance between that, when they should buy it or not. So something we're testing out, and I have to agree, I think it's really good to run as an interfrag. I'm not running into an SD on the CT side holding an angle, so for me it makes my life pretty much easier lately that the CT doesn't have an SD, for example.
Finn, you know, we saw you take on OG in your group already. You managed to take the first map in an overtime bonanza and then got absolutely swept on the second 2 of Inferno and Train. Why do you think that is? Was that a case of just running out of gas after the overtime game? Or do you think that OG are, you know, well, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this team as an international roster anyway.
Yeah, obviously, I think OG played a really good game. But like I've said in our different talk show after the game, maybe also in the interview here in Pro League, the mentality we had the last 2 matches was really bad. And I think it's because it was second game in the Pro League for us. It didn't really feel the groove yet of how we have to play online, how we have to stay in the game mentally all the time. Because if you're not in there mentally, and these, I would say, underdogs team in that scenario that OG was on our team at that moment, they can really surprise you, and they're really motivated compared to the teams of like Navi, Astralis, and Mouse, for example, right? So the mentality was bad, and it's something we really talked about for like 2 or 3 hours the day after. And I think we also saw a switch of mentality in the last 3 games we played, where we won all games 2-0, and just made sure that we didn't let the enemies get back into the match.
Now, there's entire questions around the idea of, the format for this season and just where you guys find yourself. It's good stuff that you have found yourself, here in stage 2, really competing for the big prize at the end of the road. But I want to know more about this talk show that you're talking about. I hear you guys have Paul over there. What is going on inside of the Mousesports?
Yeah, it's something we did in the group stage. Obviously, it's hard to do today when we have so late game. But it's basically doing some more content for the fans. I think it also makes the fans come closer to our team and actually see how our personalities are when we're on a talk show like that. So I think it's a great initiative by Mousesports to do this talk show. And I have to say I kind of enjoyed it, like just hanging out and bantering enemies and the teammates and stuff like that. So in the end of the day, I think it's something we gave out to the fans, and I hope they enjoyed it.
And I'm glad that, you've been around for some time. You obviously realize the importance of connecting with the fans, and moreover, in this time, in this day and age with the current climate. Anything you want to say to them now before I let you go?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to all the fans at home who's watching all games during these hard times where we can't play in arena. Without you guys, there wouldn't be a Pro League. There wouldn't be my career. So I'm just happy you guys keep supporting, and we'll come back to arena days, and everybody will show who's actually the best team in the world.
Ooh. Yeah, and that's some very heartfelt stuff there. Thank you, Kerrigan. I think he's got a point there. We'll be seeing you around, Finn.
See you.
Cool. He really does make a good point there, especially when you think about when we do return to arena days and just sort of how big of an impact the global scale might be. I mean, we're talking, these could be packed out arenas at the end of it all.
I always wonder when we saw Na'Vi beat Astralis back at Katowice. I would love to, it's a question we can't really answer other than get insight from Astralis. I'd love to know how much, the lack of crowd in a stadium that Astralis had been on the big stage on for many years in a row, how the lack of crowd was. Did that hold them back against Na'Vi? Things like that, it does make all the difference, especially in online play.
Well, there's a lot of questions around that, but, we're not going to have the answers for those. And Harry, you might have the answer for this one. Talking about OG. What do we think about OG? Because it's not necessarily the one that we paint to be on the big stage right away. Where do we find them?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? They came into Pro League, they were looking really good. They went 3-0 up to open up the group stage, and then they ended up kind of faltering towards the end. They were able to win that play-in game versus Vitality just yesterday as well. And that was after, like a pretty lackluster beginning. It wasn't looking that great for the OG squad. They lose their map pick pretty one-sidedly, or rather very one-sidedly, it felt like at the time. Alexa B was like 0-9 at one point as well. And then he, as an individual, just recovers on Nuke, tops the server, brings it all back into play in the third map, and OG were able to emerge victorious. That's the thing, right? One of the scary things with this OG squad is that you'd think, right, with this being like a pretty new venture into an international team, considering, like how we've heard about some of these communication problems firsthand, the fact that they have this resilience and the ability to make these comebacks happen, I think is a very, very promising sign for things to come from the OG squad, right? Like, it's not easy to haul your way back into a series, and that's kind of been the story for OG all Pro League long, it's felt like.
Yeah, and speaking of OG, we are going to have one of the masterminds, and he is quite the muscular man, I must say. He does find himself situated somewhere underneath those pull-up bars, or at least the one right underneath his door. I'm glad I got to witness that the other day. What's up, Alexi?
Hey guys, not much.
So you get some pull-ups in today, or what's going on there?
Not yet, not today.
Is it after
Maybe
the
after the game if we win.
Yeah. You don't want to throw your arms and your hands out of whack, so you need to keep those pretty intact. Alexi, we look at OG and we see that this regular season, it hasn't been super long for you guys. I mean, albeit there are a few matches to be played, you've taken a few L's. What have you guys learned from the Pro League this season so far?
Well, obviously that if we have our communication and the overall hype and the feeling for the game and everybody's on the same page, we can 2-0 good teams. We did it against G2, we did it against Mousesports. But then again, if we just wake up with the wrong foot or maybe feel a bit unfocused before the official, it can go downhill really quickly, as we saw yesterday, the first map against Vitality.
Alexi, you know, this has been a talking point since this roster was created. You talk about communication, and a sub-part of that is maybe having too many cooks in the kitchen, having 3 ex or current in-game leaders. That has been a problem for you in the past, maybe back at Blast, for example, with everyone, you know, wanting to pool in their ideas. Have you finally worked through that? Are you getting the room to lead as you like, or are there too many ideas flying around the camp still, and is that holding you back?
No, I feel like I've been, like the players have been doing their own role, or like giving me the role to lead, and everything on that part is kind of fixed in my opinion. Like this is good to go forwards. The only thing we're lacking is to get the same mode in every match, meaning that everybody is like warmed up properly, everybody is focused, we give proper info, no one is lacking in comm. That's the only thing we like really need. And thus far, I mean, obviously we got into the playoffs, but yet again, like it could be better. But yeah, what can I say? I mean, this league is perfect for us to learn as a team, playing best of 3s against the best teams in the world from one day to the other. So only thing we need to do is to grind hard.
Well, another question I had, kind of tagging on to the end of what Hugo just said there, and that is one of the guys obviously being Valde, who had some IGL experience back in North, was in that squad for a long while. He was saying how in an interview, and MBK kind of echoed this as well in another interview that he did with HLTV, that a lot of the focus has kind of gone to making sure that he's in the positions he feels comfortable in. And you know, maybe some of that coming from the fact that he doesn't want to be like sticking to this one style that he learned from his North time. So what kind of like what kind of decisions have you made to make sure that Valde as a player feels comfortable, and how have you been playing around that kind of multiple IGL problem, or I guess benefit, depending on how you look at it?
I mean, I think one of the important things when working with these kind of people who have the leadership in them, somehow, I guess, is like when you start to snowball and they have good ideas as well, that sometimes you just go with the flow and let other people say their things as well. Because sometimes it's actually really good if there is like people are playing really good CS and they have good ideas. So I can bounce back to those ideas, and then if it doesn't work, I gotta go back to my ideas. So sometimes it's really sick to hear Valde call something and it works, and then I just know what to call the next round, you know?
Yeah, no, that sounds brilliant. Well, so the other thing I was wondering actually was in that Inferno game the other day, you went off to a pretty grisly start, you know, man, but you really did recover in that Nuke game. What does that do for like the old morale? You know, like when you're in that situation, you're 0-9 down, you're struggling on the first map, and then you just become the center of attention in that Nuke game.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've taken the meme seriously right now that I have to go like 0-7 to get the license to kill. And I think I did it properly on the Vitality game, but no, like no excuses. To be completely honest, I think I've been playing really shitty individually. Of course, like I still trust my calls and my like our own team play, but obviously I need to step up a little. Obviously, some things outside of the server could be better as well, but it is what it is. And if I just keep grinding like this and we keep grinding as a team, I'm going to show more consistency.
Hey, one last question for you, man, before we let you go. I understand that Frankie Ward is watching from home. Anything you want to send Frankie's way, maybe a hello?
Yeah, I could say hi. I think we were supposed to do maybe some kind of content or something.
Okay.
But I think it got rescheduled, so maybe that will...
Oh, and on that note, that'll be the end of the interview. I think your headset just kind of flickered a little bit there. Either way, thank you for your time, Alexi. We're going to go ahead and get you out of here and get you into that matchup, so we'll be seeing you around.
See ya, boys.
Hey, it worked. Imagine that. Okay, so we are ready to jump into this game for the most part. Alexi B. Now, there's a lot of conversation in terms of what to watch out for in this game, but this gentleman, as he's pointing to his heart, he's got tons of it.
Man, he said some very unique words to Frankie. One that I don't think any of us could even try to repeat. The like noise. It was pretty unique. I'll give him that. Yeah, no, I mean, Alex Sabi is just a great guy to talk to, isn't he? Like, he's so full of life. Like, I don't know, man. There's just something about him. He's a very inspiring dude to be around. Like, even having him on, hearing him talk about Counter-Strike, he gets me believing. And so you know he can get the folks in OG believing and get them on side, right? And I think that was probably one of his biggest hurdles to try and cross early on, right? Coming into this international team where he's expected to kind of rein the rest of the gang in. And mate, you've got some legends of the game in this team. You know, it's not an easy feat, especially when you're someone like Alexa B, who, as he's been saying, feels like he's been struggling on like an individual level at the minute.
And Hugo, there's plenty to topple that with, but first we need to take a look at the map feeders. We need to understand our 3 digital playgrounds, our battlegrounds even, that we can begin to look at. So we got a ban from OG on Vertigo and a ban of Overpass from Mousesports. What are you looking at, Hugo?
Yeah, standard insta bans coming through, nothing surprising. OG picking Nuke, that was the game they beat Vitality on yesterday. Vitality have loved Nuke in their past in their roster, and Alexa B, man, he really, like you said, really pushed the boat out on that map. They had some really nice fakes, heading down lower, Alexi always lurking, and OG with some quick top site rotations. Train being the pick for Mousesports again, a mainstay for Mouse. We see Karrigan on the AUG there, you know, throwing back to when that gun was actually used. Inferno being the ban, and I imagine we head to Dust 2 or something as a final. Yeah, that's going to come through. It's a middle ground map for both teams. Certainly, you know, I could even say that that's in the favor of OG, although Mousesports have got a really good win percentage on it right now. That being said, we've seen what OG can accomplish on Dust 2. Think about that MBK ace yesterday to close out the series versus Vitality.
Yeah, and let's take a look at some of those numbers. We could talk a little bit about that Vitality game and how sweet it was to watch MBK just fire off the natural-born killer, I believe is what we want to call him. It does make sense. I think that's what it's short for anyway. Now, that's not OG, but what we do have is stats here for Mousesports, at least throughout the duration of the season. And it does seem like they've shown a little bit of poise.
You miss it.
Yeah. So if you do remember what those stats were, you should tweet them at us with the hashtag ESL Pro League, because I certainly don't. But that said, you know, Mousesports have been looking good. And you know, this is a team that I really like. Something that I did want to say is I'm glad that they're doing this whole like house sports talk show, because one thing about this team is like you see them at events, they're always hanging out together. They always seem to get on, right? They're always having a good time. A great bunch of personalities over on the Mousesports side. And so, you know, power to them for getting their kind of brand out there more. Like, this is a group of guys who can talk about CS all day long, and they've also got like a good bit of personality, a good bit of banter to go behind it.
For sure. I think Mousesports are honestly one of the friendliest teams about in the pro scene. You're always nice to see at events. But yeah, I wanted to jump on a point you made earlier, Harry, about reining in players as an in-game leader. I think there's a good comparison to be made here between Mousesports and OG in form of Alexi and Karrigan, right? Both in their old rosters, at least from what we know on the outside, weren't given the respect from their players rather.
Yeah.
When Karrigan was leading for FaZe, that was a common talking point. Him having the ideas, FaZe not necessarily believing in it. It eventually ended with Nico taking up that in-game leader role. Alexi B and Ents, a very similar comparison there. Clearly not the respect from the guys in Ents. They lose Alexi B, and he's joined this roster. So at least things are looking good right now for these two in-game leaders. But things are looking great for Trace and the Telestrator.
It seems that you want to use the word comparison, guys. And guess what? We've got a couple of them right here on this cool guy Telestrator. Now, where do we even begin? I don't want to start with the spoiler of who's better. We can look at that one all day long. I want to talk about AWPers in this matchup. Who are you guys selecting?
I mean, obviously, Woxic Mantu coming in for both sides. You've got the British boy on Mantu, and Woxic, you know, he's fast flicks. He's got the highest sensitivity, and he's looking to bring the heat.
Cool. So out of the two of them, though, Harry, which one are you picking with?
Oh, which one am I picking to be better? I mean, I got to side with Woxic. Like, high sensitivity, big frags, big moments, and that's what we can expect from him.
Okay, well, let's continue on with tradition. Now, 200 IQ IGLs. Yesterday, we put 3 IGLs up there for the side of OG. But what are we going to put up there today?
Oh, Karrigan and Alexa B, play it safe, right? Pick the in-game leaders for both sides. I think this is, like we just talked about, it's a really nice comparison between these two in-game leaders. You know, having, you know, not necessarily the respect in their old rosters, but now having a team that fully believes in everything they say. And I especially think, you know, on the side of Mousesports, when you've got a team full with young guns like Woxic, like Frozen, like Robs, of course they're going to believe in someone like Karrigan, who's been in this scene for decades at this point.
Okay, well, let's just continue down the road here, because if we got the IGLs, we've got the AWP players, I would ask you who's better out of these two. Not completely necessary. What is necessary are players to watch. Now, there are a couple of those that you could select, and honestly, after what we saw the other day, we saw that MBK had some fire in him. Don't know if that's just because they were playing Vitality, but there's a real chance for him to show up in this series. Now, I don't necessarily know that I want to put him up there right away. Perhaps you guys have some other thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to make a case for Issa. I really, really hope that if there ever was a series for him to start to deliver some big performances, it's in this one versus his very good old friend in Woxic on the other side. I think that would make this a very exciting series, and we've seen Issa step up within this team before. Admittedly, didn't really have to do much yesterday in that Vitality game, but I think that's even more reason for him to step it up here and now.
Now, in terms of sharpshooters, we're going to get down to that one. Hugo, I want you to identify 2 players right here, at least for the 10 that we have in the server. They're going to be those ones that are putting the highlight moves up.
I'm going to go with Rops for the side of Mousesports. I think that's always a safe bet. This guy individually is incredible. He's the only player who uses 1920, 1080, who actually makes it look good enough for me wanting to switch off 4x3. But no, he's just a really, really good individual, and that's been proven throughout the time for Mousesports. For OG, let's go with Valdi, man. I don't think he really had, like said, you know, Issa didn't really need to perform yesterday. I don't think we saw a lot from Valdi in terms of knowing what he can achieve. I feel like he was fairly quiet, so maybe today he's come to play.
Okay, so moment of truth. Who's better? This is where it all kind of gets a little sticky. Both these teams have a sort of consistency that is there and not there. I don't know. It's a weird sort of thing. But when we look at this, at who's better, I'm not even asking you to predict the series score. I'm not looking for the 2-0, the 2-1. I want to know right out of the gate, on paper, before we even get into the server, who you two have.
Yeah, well, I think there's no denying that Mousesports are the favorites coming into this, right? Like, they've got the tenure, they've got the experience, they've got the titles under their belt. And OG, they've got none of that, right? Like, they don't have anything on the same level of Mouse. So I think pound for pound in terms of experience and what we can expect, Mousesports have to be the favorites. But that's not to say that OG can't beat them, because as we just heard from the interview there, when they show up on the right day, they can beat top teams in 2 maps.
Yeah.
And you know
what?
what?
Pick one, Harry?
Yeah, Mousesports.
He did. He picked Mousesports. So who do you pick?
I'll pick Mousesports as well. I think it's a safer bet, Trace. You know, you got the more long-standing roster.
I guess that just leaves me up to my own devices here. Now, I do have a soft spot for OG. I also have a soft spot for Mousesports. But ultimately, one of these teams will be the winner. One team will get to 16 before the other one, and then potentially do that twice in a row across 2 maps, and then before you know it, the series is over. That's how the game's played. I think Mousesports probably have a better leg up in this game, but just something tells me to go the OG route like I did yesterday, and look how that turned out.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You know, OG just 2-1 Mousesports the other day, and remember, that game was a 16-2 and a 16-5. They wrecked Mousesports. Now, Carrigan did say just there that the mentality wasn't there for Mousesports, but, you know, while that is a reasonable excuse, it is at the end of the day an excuse, and you can't afford to have them at this point. You need to perform. You need to be waking up in the server, and Mousesports need to bring the heat.
Yes, and we're going to be bringing you the heat right here, right now, with the GG.bet odds currently favoring that of Mousesports, not by a huge margin. This isn't a massive deficit between the 2 teams. But what is this pissed around, Harry?
Yeah, and it's already begun. There's no waiting around here.
Don't need no music in here.
Nah, we don't need any of it. We're keeping it old school. And that's what OG are hoping to do as well, with an upper push into this A bomb site. Woxic will shut down the first man in. It's his old mate Issa on the receiving end. 3-on-3. As Frozen's help keep this even. Rops will extend it even further, but no, back into the 2-on-2 courtesy of Mr. MBK.
Oh, the flash, and he finds a kill as it pops. Carrigan gets popped, and Mantu will finish off the job. 2 kills apiece for Mantu and MBK, and OG with a top site rush. We'll find the pistol round. This is their map pick in the series. Train being the second, and if we need it, Dust 2 is waiting round the corner. Mousesports, of course, get that CT side pick, and in a map like Nuke, this is certainly where you want to be, but down 0-1 is not. So force buy for Mousesports. They put all their money in early on, trying to combat this, trying to bounce back with a force win. OG, of course, in the rifles. Unlikely to see another topside rush from OG in back-to-back rounds, especially up against, you know, what could be close-range pistols sitting on top of the hut. That's exactly what Mousesports have for us here. A slow hold for OG as they wait to see if Mousesports want to bring the aggression into the lobby.
Well, with the weapons in the round, you can, I guess, expect OG to walk all over Mousesports, but hold on a second. This is Nuke, and these are pistols. Moreover, these are Deagles, and we just had a long discussion about that. Probably lasted us entirely too long, but thank goodness the CS god himself came in here and set that one straight. Don't touch the Deagle, Professor.
I mean, of course he doesn't want the Deagle touch. You know, of course he won't want the ult touch either. You know, why would you want your best weapons changed, Trace? They work wonders in the server for him. Oof. Talking of which, man who also works wonders in the server, Woxic.
Oh, and he's able to get even more damage downrange. This scout is softened up. One of these players now, and it's looking to do even more. Garage control taken by OG, but this scout has been allowed to get away with devastating amounts of damage. And Woxic hasn't even been tagged yet. Now he goes up towards Heaven, and Issa is homed in on his position. Rops' Deagle drops one before the trade comes in. Mouse, I love how they've played this, right? They fight all the way to Heaven and Hell, and then they just give it up. They just give this area to OG, content with the amount of damage they've done. There's still this nade stack on Chris J and Frozen. That could be the thing that mops this round up, but as they flood out from the Heavens, 7 seconds left, this bomb has got to go down. Ooh. And there's the nade from Chris J to steal it all away. Those nades do come in clutch from Mousesports. They're going to get that anti-eco under their belt as they snatch it up with the Force Buy.
Yeah, the information Woxic gets off those peaks outside as well is so valuable. Robs follows up with the Deagle, and that info allows Mousesports to back up and play the lobby. They see OG coming in for the Heaven wrap, and instead of fighting for that position, like you say, Harry, you just see Woxic hide in the hut. They know that OG have such heavy outside control that there's no one inside the lobby. There's no one flanking Mousesports, so they can take enemy position as their own and just safely fire off from the hut. 1-1 as they find the Force successfully. OG with no plant either are likely just going to buy back in. See players with 1,400. Even lost bonus can't save you there. So you may as well just commit, get all your money down to 0, wait for that to build back up. But it will leave Mousesports in a position where they can start to take the lead early on the CT side of this map. Standard stuff for the defense of Nuke, of course. A map the Mousesports certainly don't shy away from either.
Not at all. You hear a nice little breeze there in the background, just something to kind of soothe you all into what is the third round of this map. So let's all just take in that sound for 1 second, just kind of enjoy it.
It's not Halloween yet.
Yeah, that's like an unsettling sound, you know? No one's like, the theme music of, you know, Jason. Ooh, how fun.
Now that we're all, you know, recentered, I feel like we all just had a moment
that was nice.
together.
Yeah,
everybody in the chat, including us three, we really were able to kind of gravitate around that.
Connecting, Trace.
Wow, I just feel more calm already. I don't know, but don't worry, we're going to raise our pitches back up. We're going to bring it right back to normal once this game starts over again. And I'm told it's just a measly 30 seconds. Wouldn't mind doing that again. Here we go. There are no accidents. There are only happy accidents. Shout out Bob Ross. Breathe with me.
Are you like a yoga instructor? Is that what this is?
It might as well be.
Stretch.
Just keep it real calm.
Touch your toes.
Collected.
Cool.
Breathe in. Breathe out. Relax.
I'm glad Bastion's given us the angle outside. Yeah. You know, it's a far calmer picture.
Oh, this is really nice, isn't it, guys?
Yeah. This is the most outdoors I've seen in quite some time. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen sunlight in weeks. So.
Now,
Bastion, can you take us on a walk down by the river? Oh, wait, the game is live, so
yeah,
maybe we should go back to that.
All right, well, back to our normal voices.
So we'll turn up the volume and we'll get this back underway. Thank you very much for that little calming intermission, Trace. But let's see if it's going to remain this calm in this server, because already Rops has gone aggressive down here towards the ramp. Tried to probe on in. MBK, he will break that glass eventually, and he's able to get it done. That's going to facilitate some utility to go flying in up over top. And well, with him on the bulk of it, Easter actually gets that kill onto Chris J. Chris J gets a little overzealous there. Hayden response onto Valder and OG. They're just going to group up. They might look to go on in now. Keep your eye on Frozen. He's going to be a real key player in this round, potentially. Instead, he just gets caught out almost immediately. Has to drop down the vents and concede it. He doesn't even get one kill, but Carrigan is there to mop it all up with 3. And 2 for Woxic. Mousesports going to take that second round. Frozen was trying to play around in the vents. That's become like a more and more common idea over here on the CT side of Nuke. Doesn't actually get anything from it, though.
I love when we see like shotgun AWPers sitting on the vents. JW is a great example of a player who is always keen to do that. Sit at the top of the vent. You're essentially covered, right? You can get spammed, but you can't be seen. So you can easily jump out and just take a quick shot, then fall back down below. Always an option. Mousesports still running these SMGs into the 4th as OG have a full eco. It's time to make some money here for the Mousesports players. Double stacked in the lobby, waiting patiently for Mousesports to push. That's a great shot. Frozen one-tapping MBK down. I thought it was a range one. He's rather the player around red. That's Woxic instead. And Mantu might be dead in a second as the aggression is pulled out from Mousesports. Ooh, it's a bit shaky, it's a bit messy, and Frozen will give away an MP9. It's not a worry for Mousesports in this round, as Woxic should be able to pick up the pieces that are left in the yard. There's the first. Ooh, Molotov retrieved though, and that's going to put Woxic in hot water. Hot fire as well. He burns, perishes in the flames as Carrigan looks to pick up the last 2 kills. Chris J on the flank might steal them away instead. No getting out of here about it alive. Only escape is in a body bag. And yoink, Rops gets his gun stolen from beneath his feet. It's a 3-1 lead for Mousesports, but OG have guns now.
Here's a fun little tidbit for you all. Bastion has observed 5 seasons of the ESL Pro League. Now that's something. Not many of us have been around that long, Bastion. But here we are, me and you, standing at the end of the day, getting it done.
Yeah, go check him out on Twitter, @UnknownFME. Definitely let him know that you're appreciating his work. Nuke isn't fun as an observer, but it certainly is for us as the frags are coming in fast for OG. They're all over the A site. They've swapped positions with that of Mousesports, and a bomb plant will be allowed. Vent rotate is not a safe one, but it's all Mousesports having this round to get back into the site.
Ooh, that's a critical fight won by Frozen. Now, it is immediately traded, and that's going to make it hard for Rops to find anything here over in heaven. Woxic, he was kind of waiting around, you know, like hoping the other two are able to make some magic happen, and with that not coming in, he's just going to try and hold on to the AWP.
Yeah, he threw a flashbang through heaven for his teammate to come through, but while it went deep and it worked out, Alexi was right below the site, and he was completely fine, dodging the blindness and getting away with a kill. OG up to 2 on the T side, finding their second round nice and early.
Yeah, with Woxic saving this op, it's probably the best time for me to tell you about our EPL mailbag. Now, you do notice that we take some timeouts on the more technical variety, and that would be likely due to internet or players' computers or what have you. But hashtag EPL mailbag, that's how we get your questions up on the screen. So do it on Twitter. And don't be too mean.
Or we won't show it.
Or we will. And then we'll all kind of channel that back at you. I'm just kidding. We will not.
Yeah, imagine. That'd be fun. Let's see, though. Alexibi has done a lot of damage. Frozen. Oh, I thought he was dead meat. And actually, somehow, some way, Woxic has bailed him out. The round's over. Mousesports got it. They keep everyone alive. And, mate, like, when Mousesports are winning these rounds, it does look really nice. Like, you know, we just see all the kills coming in a matter of seconds, everyone stepping up individually. This is the Carrigan 2K that we didn't even get to see. But it was lovely, as we would expect. 4-2 now. Mousesports back in the lead and looking to maintain it as they've sent OG really deep into their sofa cushions, rummaging for as much change as they can to put together a buy in this round.
You got to be careful what you pull out of those sofa cushions. You really do. Never know what kind of biscuits are left down there.
Hey, I mean, if it's edible, if it was edible once, it's probably edible now, right? That's what I say.
Yeah. Well, you can start to digest what is this hit on the outside from OG. Gonna be running it through. Molotov holding off just a little bit, but here we go. Issa leading the charge. And he's not gonna be alone. Rops down in the site. He's gonna be joining him. Chris J as well, playing about where Zonteras likes to play. Look at that. Spam through the wall. Not something you see every day that players are going for that, but it's still there.
Zywoo wallbanged Vent yesterday against OG and killed Mantu in the Vent. So I guess they're just firing back some warning shots, showing they can do it too as well. Bit of damage, but nothing too significant. OG setting up in the secret. The danger is here, of course, Mousesports have heavy control down on lower. They've got 3 players ready and waiting. Utility starting to come out, but these positions are very hard to clear. Woxic is gone already, and that could be a chance to rotate for OG if they do so please. Karrigan finding another. Robs can't see a single player here, but they're about to triple peek him in the doorway. There they go, the flash is in, he sprays them down and gets 2. Third man on the site not needed as Chris gets a kill, but Frozen on the ramp rotate will close the round. Mousesports, great rotates down lower. OG slowing down. Typically, when we saw these guys play yesterday on this map, they would go for similar rounds where they would drop secret and get control there and force those early rotates down B. And then they would have Alexi B either come up the vent or be lurking lobby or behind Mini the whole time, find a kill on that top site, and it would open up an opportunity for OG to go back up the vent, back up the stairs. Well, in this round, they try and commit to lower and they walk into the heavy setup, so we might see more of that later for OG. Instead, for now, it's just pistols, fast-paced for MBK, looking to get a bomb plant on B, and he might be successful, but Rops is in with an early rotation, can't miss that shot, will finish off the job, and the bomb dropped down lower.
And Rops hasn't even committed. He's like rotated back up to Karrigan, just wallbangs them out of the round. Issa will get 1, however, there is spam coming through everything. Issa has bullets waiting for him around every corner. And so he'll hunker down, but Mousesports, while they've kind of been chasing this kill for a moment, I was going to say they might stop now. Frozen offers up another, and Issa, this bomb is still down towards B, so he's a long way from getting this round back under control. This double setup back towards ramp might catch him off guard. Woxic swinging on out, and Issa looking for these kills. It's not going to happen. Rop solidifies it with 2, and Mousesports going to take a 6th on the board. But now this buy is back on the cards. Mantu, even with enough money to bring this AWP out. We saw OG yesterday not really using the AWP all too much, but I don't think that was so much as through choice as never really having the money to do it.
It was the map pool as well, right? It was Inferno T-side they started, and like, you're not going to pull the AWP up there. And then they got wrecked on Inferno, went straight to Nuke. Again, T-side start, you know, not really seeing a lot of AWPing there either. And then Dust 2, he did pull it out and managed to beat Zywoo in some head-to-head fights. But yeah, you know, it was a little bit lacking. Maybe we'll see it more in this map here and now for OG, but well, here and now it's the outside smokes. Going to standard setups for this T side. They won't be sending everyone behind it. They rarely do that. But a couple of players still hanging around outside. Mantu and Alexi B making their moves. OG going back towards the lobby. We might see this ramp crunch. Try and split the B bomb site. This is getting grenaded. OG are just waiting for the time to strike. They're waiting for their outside players to have some more control, maybe find a kill. Issa and Alexi B are looking for that, but Frozen is waiting patiently by the spawn, looking for this cross. Alexi B checks it. What a heads-up play from the in-game leader of OG. The flash to lower does nothing, and Woxic is ready, just about avoids it. Smoke out ramp now. OG making their play. They've lost one side of this split, so they've got to commit. And Robs, this is such a good play. He's biding his time, and he's waiting for the right time to strike.
Oh, and he decides the time is night, but Valda able to put up the trade. Does get brought down somewhat low. The bomb's been retrieved, and Issa dispatching of Chris J, looking for a little bit more. The Org of Woxic will deliver 1, and this now leaves Karrigan in a 1v2. They drop down from heaven. Valda's going to set up here by the CT vent, and he'll solidify that round. A hat trick from Valda here to put 3 on the board for OG. They're able to stumble back to their feet in that round, in spite of this nice little play from Robs. Bit of a shame on the timing there, and a great reaction from Valda to actually catch him. And now a US Air Force tactical timeout for OG.
Time for a breather and time to work out things as they go into the next rifle round. Of course, money on the edge. If they get reset here, they will be broke. Miles with a great online percentage of wins. I think that makes sense, right? If you look at the players you have here, you have Chris J, formerly online J. I don't think that holds weight anymore. He's more than proven himself on LAN, but of course was once the scout god on the servers. Rops grinded through the pug system at the young age. So he's had plenty of online experience. And even Woxic, who before joining this team was floating around the Turkish scene for so long with high ping, it never stopped him. And now Mousesports, a real roster to contend with the best. Woxic taking his up towards Mini, going for the wall bang, but no kills here. Frozen with a Molotov outside to delay this push from OG, but they're still going to move past it, jumping over the flames. That will get spotted. Frozen finds 2. Oh dear, the last bullet getting the headshot on Issa. You hate to see it for OG. They're getting absolutely slaughtered outside right now. 3 kills for Frozen and no response yet.
Yeah, when teams find themselves in that sort of weird predicament, it doesn't get any easier, especially the more time that elapses. It allows Mousesports to really clamp down on their vice grip and let OG have it. 7-3 currently. Pretty good showing from Woxic. Look at that. What are you even supposed to do, right? Frozen spamming the smoke for the cross of the secret. Well, he wasn't done there. Nice little 4K for the boy.
Yeah, so back onto these pistol armor buys for OG. Pretty devastating spot to find yourself in into round number 11, but OG, you know, they can still recover this half well. If they get 5-6 rounds, they're going to be feeling just fine with that. Outside smokes go in, but already playing around them is Frozen. That molly keeps him out in the open for a little bit longer than he would have liked. He's trying to play around with this wall of smokes, drops that molly. And now they've either got to go through or go down, and somehow Frozen is still alive. Finally, they deal with him, and he's not really able to get much done. That whole round seemed like it kind of got messed up when that molly went in.
I think that was his teammate's molly.
Yeah, I think it was as well, because he only took like 30 damage in the 12 years he stood in it for.
That really got in the way of what he wanted to do in that round, and I feel like he just got a bit flustered and overwhelmed by the amount of players from OG pushing through that smoke, his spam not landing more than bit of tickle damage.
Imagine if that's what leads this whole anti-eco round for Mousesports to fall apart, because now suddenly you've armed Alexa B with an AK, you've given up this outside control. Woxic as well is in a very awkward spot because they know he's here, and it's like he wants to get some usage out of this position, so he's still trying to have an impact into this round, but if he peeks wide, if he tries to take any of these fights, then he runs the risk of going down.
Look how low he is, too, on 15 HP. They know he was there. Finally, he's able to get a shot out, but that damage has already been done from this AK. Alexi B with 3 kills, and this has gone horribly wrong for the side of Mousesports.
Yeah, smart play from OG to not actually climb up on the exterior of Heaven. Obviously, it's safer. If you're coming up the ladder and there's a player in the top, you're dead more times than not if they're watching you. But OG, if they go and climb the stairs outside and climb up the generators, Woxic will kill them. So heads up play to take the safe route instead. And now Alexi B looking to ace this round. Is going to steal it away, but OG, I'm sure they're happy with that one. That was an eco win regardless with a half buy, pistol and armor. And they make it work. 4 kills from Alexi B, the in-game leader. He didn't go 0-7 today. His license to kill was deployed from round 1. He's 9-9. He's looking good for OG, leading by example.
U.S. Air Force tactical timeout. Now, see, this would be the most opportune position to get your hashtag EPL meme reviews, or better yet, your mailbag up on the screen. Mailbag for the more serious stuff, meme reviews for whatever, you know, form of humor you want to display via usually MS Paint. Rest in peace. Here we go. Back into it. Freeze time coming to an end. 7-4. Mousesports really fumbling that last round. Alexi B, well, he certainly took advantage of it. AWP still in Woxic's hands. Leading the charge with 12 frags of his own.
Yeah, if you're Mouse, you don't want that to be the round that lets OG back into this half in a very big way, right? So they really need to try and mop this round up here and now. Gets some damage off there with the spray, but there's already players up and out, and they're going to start to overwhelm him. This A-bomb site just gets opened up almost immediately by Issa and Alexa B. They just play on the back of Carrigan spamming. They wait for him to run out of ammo. They flash themselves in. Ooh. And even while a lot of damage has been done, this isn't really a round that Mousesports are going to look too keen to try. they might just have to concede a 5th to OG. And I absolutely love the decision-making there from Alexa B and co over on the OG side, right? You're never really sure who makes the call in a round like that. You know, we spoke to Alexa B. He said that he actually quite likes having guys in the team that will make a call or that he can bounce ideas around off of. And it also lets him, you know, start to plan ahead for the future. So whoever called that top site rush, stellar decision-making. It looked like it was just made one in response to the player spamming the door there, and they catch the A site completely unaware. So a 5th round on the board for OG. They keep it pretty clean. That's fantastic for them. And dire for Mousesports now, who likely have to eco behind these saved weapons. They could force, but I wouldn't count on it.
Not the right play, not the safe play, that's for sure. Because Mousesports, regardless of how this round goes, they can buy in the follow-up as long as they keep $2,000 a player. Back-to-back rounds won by OG is at least something for Mousesports in terms of loss bonus. They will be up to 24. Trace, the questions are flying through in EPL mailbag, so maybe you could pick some of the special ones out for tech pauses for later on. Man2, he gets across towards Secret. OG heavy control. They know they're versus pistols, but there are still some rifles in play, and Rops will show them the hard way, taking down Alexa B, taking down the in-game leader for OG. Smoke towards Hell denies his vision outside, and OG will just commit down lower. Still with a lurk in the form of MBK. Chris is about to spot all these T's coming through the hallway. Frozen pushed back by the Molotov leaves Chris and Carrigan with a bit of a Chris crossfire. These USPs. Not the best guns as Chris is taken down, but a dink onto Issa, and Carrigan going to run for the hills. Definitely the right play. Stalling this out, wasting OG's time and forcing them to commit to the site. Valde will with that kill, but the flank is in. They don't expect a 3rd player in position. And Frozen, he could end this entire round. There's a kill on Man2. The bomb getting planted. He doesn't see it, but he does see Issa on the edge of the smoke with 2. Bomb in the site and another man to deal with. There's still that lurk coming down the vents, but MBK isn't going to be able to cut off any rotations with these 2 CTs coming from ramp.
Oh, Frozen actually able to win that out. And in the meantime, Rops has dealt with Valde. This whole round falls apart. Mousesports gonna get the 8th on the board. And yeah, you're bang on, right? That flank from MBK. The round kind of hangs in the balance on of him getting that kill onto Frozen. And if that doesn't come through, it leaves Valde all alone with 3 players about to pincer him from Ramp and Decon, and we see how that pans out.
What a read, though, and that was off of the information that Chris and Carrigan got on their stairs crossfire. They spot that, okay, there are only 3 players moving through, so once Frozen gets a flank, he kills 2, he knows there's a planter on B, and instead of rushing that planter and giving away his really, good position in Decon, he just turns around and reads his position well. MBK comes down the vent silently, and he gets taken down. Great round for Mousesports, putting together an eco win. Remember, that was 3 safe guns and 2 USPs, but it does not hold them back.
Up over in Man2's hand. So maybe we get to see the head-to-head of Man2 and Woxic. In this round, Man2's just waiting back in T-spawn. That's to throw the outside smokes. These are the standard ones that fall, blocking off the vision from Red to Secret. None of these mini smokes for OG. Instead, they just throw the normal boys down towards outside. And that has got the attention of Frozen. A lot of utility's gone out to ward off any potential smoke plays. Now, what we sometimes see teams do is in response to these smokes, they'll try and push up. They try and get the information to see if it's just a ruse. Now, Mousesports haven't been able to do that. And so as a result, Chris J has had to take up position down on the B site. And that subsequently leaves these upper positions a bit more ripe for the taking. But to take them, you've got to get past Rops, and he's got a thing or 2 to say about it. Specifically, 2 things to say before he's traded by Man2. Still a 2-on-4. Valde does deliver. Ooh, I almost said a couple of kills, but somehow, some way, Frozen has stayed alive on 1 point of health. Man2 now is the only man remaining. Bomb on his back, AK in hand as he swaps out the AWP. And he's looking like he wants to give this a go.
Yeah, Man2, got to be the man to do the damage in this round.
Remember though, Chris J rotated down to B early because of those outside smokes. OG, they might have been screwed here by that decision to smoke off outside and force that rotation. It was meant to work in their favor and weaken the map elsewhere. But that's not the case. Chris J's been waiting for a B play all round long.
That was so toxic from Chris J as well. He doesn't even wait for the bomb to get planted. He hears Man2 drop with 10 seconds, and he just rushes door. He knows that Man2's going to go for the stick, bomb in his hands, and caught with his pants down. Nice play from Chris, denies the money getting given to OG for the final round of the half. And that does make all the difference. It would have been an extra $800 per player. That can be a full set of utility. That can be the difference between Kev and Helmet. Can be even, you know, Galil to AK. So, yeah, lots of money lost for OG, and they've got to try and recover in this last round of the half, find a 6th on Mousesports let them. This has been a stellar CT side hold so far on the pick of OG. Chris dropping off the boxes. Just waiting for the right time to shine. Is he waiting for a Molotov maybe on the hut roof? Knows they might likely swing out the door, can just jiggle this headshot angle on the boxes, and yeah, the door is the object of OG's desires. They sit towards the hut and Squeaky. Alexi should open this so Issa can flash out. And here comes the upside rush.
Yeah, mini smoke here from Alexi. Look at this. This has got real Squeaky. It's going to be that of Kerrigan trying to find something with the AUG, and that doesn't go well for him. Still, the bomb gets planted in the upper site.
A man's dropped down though. Woxic fell into this site and could disrupt everything. He spots that there's no one here, and they don't know that he's inside of the site. That was never spotted. He's looking at that M4, and he's tempted. Issa. Oh, no. Dear. Oh, no. Oh, it's all gone wrong. OG, they're going to get that 6th round on the board. Woxic just couldn't bring himself to get rid of an old friend in that round. And now 6-9. This is pretty even Stevens at first half. We'll be back after a quick break to bring you the second.
I've been living in the shadows for a while. Demons calling me from the afterlife. Dark doesn't faze me anymore. I can see my tears into gold. Yeah, yeah. I don't care, no, I don't care. Yeah, yeah. I don't care, I said, 'cause baby, every fucking time you've played me, you should know that I don't give a single fuck about you and your words. All the times you lied to me, I took notes. I don't know what to say. I thought you loved me, but you and I know people come and go away, away. Sun is low, that's my time to shine again, again. 'Cause baby, every fucking time you play me, you call my bluff for the last time. This ain't a song, it's a battle cry. No life, I see the clue between the strobe lights. I'm haunted, black face, hey, follow me around, okay, black face, hey, follow me around, okay, used to want it bad, used to want it bad, but I can't taste it, I can't help you now, okay, follow me around, okay, black face, hey, follow me around, okay, follow me around, okay, black face,
A 9-6 half, as the story is told, per usual. We're looking at a game where a lot of things have been moving around in this room, and Frozen is one of them, at 106 ADR, topping the charts over there for Mousesports currently, in what was otherwise a kind of scary half. 9-6 is not exactly where you want to end up, but here on Nuke, they're going to have the upper hand going into the T side. I got Harry and Hugo. They might say the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you could say it's not the best half, but I think for 6 rounds, T-side is just enough for OG. You know, they win a force buy round at the end to close it. They're in a good position. But the pistol, Trace, that's the one that makes a difference. That's the one that makes the money heading into the second half as OG flip to the CT side. Mousesports going to deal with them what they were dealt themselves. A fast A rush. Issa on the site looking to start as he means to go on, but he'll fall immediately. Alexia with 1, but the trades are in. Mousesports favored as the bomb gets planted. It's going to be a retake here with 3. No kit either.
Yeah, this is going to have to happen a little bit quicker probably than they would like, especially with MBK walking into the crosshairs of Kerrigan. He's going to just go ahead and falter what they had going on there. And it's Mantu ringing out from heaven. 2 on 3. Really good shot from Frozen. He is really feeling himself today. And that Glock does it to him. So we're going to see that pistol round go to Mousesports, which ultimately doesn't bode well. But we shall see. In the game of CS, anything is possible. And just so you're all aware, we have selected some from the EPL mailbag. We're going to be getting them up there soon.
Next time out, I guess we can throw some in.
Yeah, or even in some freeze times, you know, like why not?
Yeah, be fast.
They're not all real long answers.
Well, let's see if this is a long game, or will Mousesports make it a quick affair as they take the pistol round in the second half, leading the board on the T side as well. OG on a force. They go for a topside play in the second round. That's a risk, but there's already a man out and about. Chris has found the play on top of that hut. MBK was the only player inside of the site. OG gambled on lower. They have 3 players on that B site right now. Valde just coming off of the ramp. And Mousesports, they forgot the bomb. But luckily enough, OG have already started to save. And Mousesports are still going to get a free round regardless. You can see Alexi B going back to his spawn, hiding in the safety. But Mousesports, that's a guaranteed 11th with 5 alive currently as well. Talk about money being made. I think this is a great time for a mailbag because this round is done.
Yeah, I would think so too. But I'm not entirely sure if that's how it works. Oh, maybe it does. Let's see. Nope. We do have a pretty nifty forklift right there, though.
But yeah, no one even hunting for Mousesports, just playing it safe, holding on to their own economy. They know they're going to have this exact same round with everything OG have, and maybe even a little bit more in the follow-up with this armor pistol getting saved. Great play for Chris to catch a timing out the hut and kill the only man who could have stopped him on that top side play. It was MBK.
Yeah, hanging out on top of the hut.
I'm on top of the hut right now.
I'm on top of the hut right now. I'm on top of the hut. I'm on top of the hut right now.
And that's pretty much how that soundtrack did go for MBK.
Here we go. LA56J has asked, what is your favorite tournament you casted, hosted in? Hashtag EPL mailbag. Now, I'm going to start with you guys. Doesn't need to be anything too drawn out. What do you got?
I feel like Pro League has a special place in my heart.
Pro League finals, man, probably. Like, the Danish crowd's always great. And obviously, we got to cast the finals there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that was back in December.
Until this round does pick up, make itself spicy, we're looking at pistols on the side of OG. Personally, I'm going to select this season of Pro League, to be exact, and for a couple different reasons. The big one is that we find ourselves in a very, very peculiar situation globally. And moreover, the 3 of us, the 6 of us even, have been tasked and sort of challenged with creating content and bringing the best of Counter-Strike out that we could possibly give and deliver to you. So it's moreover, it's enjoyable. Obviously, there's big stages, there's majors, there's this, that, and the other, but this is a very strange time when we're all sticking together.
That's a very good point, Trace, especially with all regular sports cancelled. This leaves esports, you know, you can play from the safety of your own home, you can play from your quarantine, so that's always nice. And, you know, that's where we are right now. OG homebound as they look to save these weapons, as Mousesports surely finding a 12th round in this one. The double save for OG, certainly not a go-to, but what else can they do with such limited weapons?
Yeah, it's almost like they're just looking to take as many of these weapons out of the round as they can. And they will get away with a couple. Alexi B gets lost in the process, but Issa able to stay alive there, holds onto the armor. We could even see a double AWP bought in here for the OG side. Not really something I'm sure that we'll see, but no, Rops is Mousesports' best online player, holding down a 1.16 rating across 57 maps. That's pretty mental, but that's kind of... I wouldn't expect anything less from Robs. You think about how he got everything started, right? Was playing on the client a hell of a lot. And that was like, in the beginning, how he made his name and actually joined into the Mousesports organization.
What an awkward exchange. Reminds me at the towards the end of Saving Private Ryan. Anyway, that's a totally different one. I would love to see a randomized map selection. Stop with the vetoes. Okay, well, let's not get too carried away.
Yeah, no, the problem with that is like then any sort of strategy would just go out the window. Like you would have to have a 7-map pool or else you would be screwed, which I guess would be kind of fun. But it's like, you know, no one, you know, when you're competing for millions of dollars, I don't think it's a nice idea to leave much up to chance.
The less RNG, the better, I think, is you know, a safe bet in Counter-Strike.
Now we need, you know, perks and care packages.
Kill streaks.
You hot drop into the map, you have to scavenge for your weapons and armor.
Let's make it like Danger Zone or a Battle Royale. You parachute in, you don't start in T-spawn, you spawn on the A site.
Well,
speaking of starting in this round.
Yeah, that's basically what Mousesports have done. They've hot dropped into the A bomb site, parachutes in full force, and they find themselves now in the front lines of OG. OG have already backed out of the round, and with that kill onto MBK, this save becomes even more assured. Mousesports, this will be a 13th loaded in the chamber, ready to go. OG left with no choice once again but to save, and this is a horrible spot to be in. Mousesports doing a great job of just dictating to them in this second half. You know, we saw OG looking really good on this map yesterday, and Mousesports are able to kind of pick them apart with ease over here on the T side right now. Certainly setting Mousesports up for a good series. That said, you know, we've seen OG lose their first map pick in a lot of these games, and it hasn't always been an easy time for the opposition. This really does seem like a team that when their back is up against the wall, they play some of their best Counter-Strike. So that's always something to bear in mind as we continue. 13-6, still a chance for OG even in this map, right? It's not over yet, but that kind of cut-off point, that moment where we do stop believing in the comeback for OG, is right around the corner. If they're not able to find a round soon, then I'm not sure they're going to be able to find a round at all on this CT side.
Yeah, a little bit of Jane time going on here for OG. Really having to back up, hold on to what they've got, try to take it in the next round over and over and over. Mantool and AWP, perhaps this is a round for him to pop off. 9 and 15.
Ooh, Molly might disrupt the outside smokes, but Mousesports throw 3 of them, making sure that their tracks are covered and they can safely get towards a secret position. Now, Carrigan could go through it and go towards Garage if he wants, but will opt just to take the lower position. MBK has no idea. He can't see a thing, can only assume. So you can see OG, desperation rotation. Double players down on B. They don't know how many men are there for Mousesports, and so it is the right call. Mantu pushed back by the Molotov. Moves before it lands at least. He won't take any damage, but he will concede that position and has to start to consider alternative options. This isn't a B play. Mousesports want to take A. Carrigan's come back up the secret, and they've got ramp control as well. This is a perfect split from Mouse. If Chris can get into position to take Heaven, then things just get better and better. Mantu turning around, and he might miss the timing to Chris, who has found himself towards Hell. He goes through the open windows, and this should be a free kill for Chris J. As soon as he finds Mantu, but that's a great shot, saving his own life and keeping OG in this round. That would have been the kill that opened up an A-site wrap. If Chris just went up the Heaven, they probably would have won the round anyway, but now Mouse really have to try a man down. Ramp to B is looking like the safe option here.
Yeah, now Alexa B already came down here earlier on in the round. He's just waiting in decon. Now, there's a pretty fast rotate available from Valder, but he's really the only man that's going to be in a position to get down towards this B site quickly. And so this means for the time being, Alexa B is very much alone here in the Pop Dog. You'll start to see Mantu moving around. The footsteps now heard, and OG realize it's a B-side plant. I like this from Alexa B. He doesn't actually try and deny the plant, doesn't really give it a look in. Once he hears they're already in the site, he's just going to wait for the rest of his team. And there's the wall bang. Rops gets shut down. Frozen and Woxic left in what is now a 2-on-3 thanks to Frozen. Still trying to hold down this back line, but with 2 players coming his way, he's got to do a lot. And it's actually Mantu to move on to a 3rd kill in this round. Time is the enemy of OG now. They've got to smoke for the bomb. Mantu can help out in that regard. Woxic has got to do it all, and he takes them off the bomb. It's going to be close, but I think they've got it. And they've got this. 7 rounds on the board for OG, just about.
Sick play from Woxic, though. I mean, he gets the dude off the bomb. You know, instead of fighting Issa, he knows he probably is going to get away with 1 kill there, and he takes the one that really matters. Mantu, big round from him, 3 on the orb, saves the day here. Now, Chris gets that kill. Mousesports was setting up for a topside play. Chris just wanted that frag before he went up heaven, because it would have made things far easier. He could have gone through the outside, and of course, the orb would have been gone for the retake. So, yeah, Mantu holding his own there in CT spawn, finding Chris aggressive in a surprising position. And it puts OG on 7 and keeps them in this game. Without that round, Nuke might have already been, coming to a close. MBK trying to deal with them outside. Oh, the triple spray. Mantu helps him on the 3rd. The bomb's been dropped, and the round's been lost. There's no way for Rops.
Say that, and you are correct. MBK, big round, triple kill for the man, the natural-born killer.
I want to know if a smoke missed there for Mousesports. I didn't see a molly thrown down by OG that would disrupt things, and Mousesports only had 1 of the 2 outside smokes. Very weird. The only way I can see that making sense is if you just wanted to try and take that first fight and then cross to the safety of the smoke. But that first fight did not go well for you. MBK absolutely shreds the defense, or the attack rather, and Mantu comes in from heaven to get 2 more. So yeah, a bit of a weird one there for Mousesports. Miss smoke potentially. It's going to cost them a round.
Now they set up over here towards inner. Now we saw Alexa B on Nuke go unmollied atop this hut time and time again yesterday in the Vitality matchup. This time though, he does get pressured. However, Mantu is not feeling any pressure right now. 2 kills to his name. Valde coming in on the ramp flank, and it's a mop up for OG. They lost 4 rounds in a row to begin this second half. They went 13-6 down, and now they're on a 3-round comeback, breaking the economy of Mousesports, maybe about to put a 10th on the board. You're assuming that's going to happen unless this force buy prevails for Mouse. OG, man, they're just feeling like a real comeback squad right now. They don't always start off on their best foot, but my word, can they get back into the race the longer it goes.
Yeah, and those 2 rounds were so fast. 2 of the fastest rounds we've had today, it feels like, in 4 rifle rounds for us, where they get nothing done. No, they're back on the pistols here. This should be where OG can find double digits. That being said, we know any round could slip away from you. Counter-Strike. Nothing is safe, nothing is guaranteed. And BK finds the first in the yard, though. One of those deagles removed. Mousesports looking for those headshots. The 1-shot potential at pretty much any range with that deagle. So danger on the side of OG, but they certainly have the weapons to compete. Carrigan gets blown up with the grenade. 1 by 1, Mousesports are trickling down in this round. It seems like OG shouldn't have too much trouble finding 10.
MBK lobbing a grenade up there on top of the marshmallow, red rock, whatever you want to call it.
Silo.
The silo is also an acceptable term. What will be acceptable from Chris J to walk hut into? I think that is it, actually. And there you go. 2 more for the boy. Gonna go for 3. Just about barely missing the shot there. It was MBK. The traverses in from outside, but here's Rops. Spots some heads in heaven. Can't land a shot on him. And there's going to be another round for OG.
That's so unfortunate. Rops had the lineup. He waited so long just to make sure he was going to get that headshot, really lining the crosshair up. And in that moment, Mantu moves to get that teammate up the ladder into heaven with him. And so the kill eludes Rops inside of the site. Now, that could have shaped up very, very differently had that fight gone his way. Mousesports, they still have the lead, but it's starting to slip away from them. A reinvestment in now as the rifles come out in full force over here on the T side. Outside smokes get thrown up and over to allow for this cross, and there's no gap in them this time around. Rops is out by the vent. That player did just go down past him. That was Alexa B. Robs is very, very low, and Mantu continuing this tear. Since bringing the AWP out on the CT side, it feels like we've seen him get multi-kills in every one of these rounds, bar that first, where obviously he saved the AWP. Since then, everything's come up Mantu, and this round comes up OG, with Alexa B being the double kill bro there for the CT side. 2 rounds now between Mousesports and OG. And once again, there's no money left for Mao as a US Air Force tactical timeout called on in, because they can feel this one slipping away from them.
That they can.
This AWP for Mantu is really sick, you know. Like we've already talked about, Harry, we didn't get to see it much in the series yesterday, especially not on the map of Nuke, but you know, things looking up right now.
Let's take a look at another EPL mailbag tweet. Any thoughts on the new scrimmage map, Anubis and Chlorine?
Yeah,
Well,
we've done this before.
Let me
Let's
kick
go,
this one off, guys. Chlorine, given the current agent or skin modeling issue, absolute garbage.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a
Anubis is
shame
fun.
because the layout of Chlorine is sick, but the colors I kind of hate, just because the skins blend in. But Anubis, great map. You should definitely give it a go. It's very, very open. There's a lot to learn, but once you learn it, it's good fun. And kind of has like the aesthetic of an Overwatch map, but like a pretty Overwatch map. None of the gross garbage.
I mean, there
ones.
is one called Anubis there. The Temple of Anubis. Yeah, actually looks actually very much like that. Sandy look. No, I think Anubis runs kind of cool. There's loads of options you can. Yeah, it's like multi-leveled as well, but not to the same extent like you.
Well, speaking, he's talking about multi-levels. Mousesports are taking us on a tour. They were upper, now they're lower. That's pretty much the tour. Mantu looking down towards the double doors here.
Oh dear.
Spraying, but not quite slaying yet. The bomb plant found. No, he tries to do it with a nade.
No.
That's gross. Chris J's allowed to stay alive. But a 1v3, the rest of the squad come in and save the day. Valder, he threw everything and the kitchen sink at trying to deal with Chris J, and just none of it worked.
Yeah, I mean, not seen that one before. Kind of entertaining. OG are really pulling a comeback right now. This is 6 in a row on this CT side. What a recovery. Alexa B, you know, leading by the reins, leading, I think, is good enough of a word. He is 19 and 16, top of the server right now. Frozen right behind him. MBK is looking good as well today, and that was, you know, a wonder coming into this matchup. We knew he performed versus Vitality, of course, but was that just, you know, the grudge match? Can he keep it up? Well, he certainly seems to be keeping on for OG as they look to pull the CT comeback. Mousesports on another buy. We've not seen Woxic on the AWP on this T-side. He had money for it here, but he opts against it. And I really like to see a little more T-side AWP. Maybe not falling into what Mousesports want to do in this round, though, going for those yard smokes, very wide ones, not the standard ones behind red. It does mean they therefore have to use 3, including one in the face of the garage, but this does provide more for Mousesports, as they don't necessarily have to walk towards B. They can go garage, they can go main, they can fake it, but they will indeed be walking down lower towards secret. Some of that potentially getting hurt by MBK. Rob's finding the advantage, though, taking down Valdo from the ramp. They're in the lobby, and OG, nice quick kill from Alexa B, and he ducks out of that position. OG have good info, they're good map control, they should know where things are going, but that's a great look from Karrigan, finding MBK in the garage. It's all over the place right now.
Oh my word. Karrigan is taking this round by storm, but is it going to be enough? Mantu dropping the bomb, and now it's at his feet. This B site has been Mantu's playground, and he's looking for another missed shot onto Frozen, and that's a huge kill to have conceded. Issa not able to pick up the pieces. Mousesports, they'll get that 14th on the board. They're first in 6 rounds.
Yeah, really good idea there, and you know, you can't even really fault Mantu down in the bottom. I mean, he gets a shot, he goes down, tries to play around the smoke. You can't even really be mad at that.
Honestly, I think the whole play was very, very smart. It's just, it's a shame that this shot misses, right? That's the problem with this, is it's like, it is a bit risky because he gets all that information, but if you miss that shot, then Frozen is going to beat you 9 times out of 10, and that's what happens there. But I think that was the right play for Mantu to make. Just a bit unfortunate that the shot doesn't align. MBK goes aggressive towards outside in this round, and Frozen does have his eyes firmly fixated. Oh, not anymore. Uh-oh. Timing's everything here. Is MBK, here's the smokes coming out. He peeks ahead of it and does catch Frozen. I like that from MBK. You know, you just stop them while you know they're setting up these smokes to try and go outside. And MBK now still a problem, still a nuisance, and still laying down the pain. Able to lay waste to yet another man here.
And he's still here. He's still not ducked down secret. Finally, we'll take that option, the safe route down below, keeping the advantage in heavy favor of OG. Mousesports might just hit A out of desperation. That's when you know things aren't going well. They're going to get wrecked. Alexi ready. Oh, great shot from Chris, but Alexi being above the hut, we know how good this position is. And Alexi again providing. He swaps sides, and he drops down in their face as well. Mantu steals away the last kill, but is still around for OG. Great play from Alexi to even swap the sides of the hut that he's above. It means Mousesports pre-aim the wrong position, and their money again is drawn into question. A buy likely will come through here with Karrigan having plenty. Only Woxic really struggling. But yeah, OG have pulled quite a comeback on the CT side, and I don't think they're done yet.
Yeah, just keeping it closer and closer and closer. And you're right, good heads up display right there from the side of Alexi B on top of the hut. Some good stuff. This timeout draw to a close. Again, brought to you by the U.S. Air Force. Now check this out. Sir Churchill 22, also known as Chad Burchill's alt account. But do you think that the Negev would be a more viable force buys on maps with tight choke points?
See, I actually think the Negev is definitely viable in some sense. I think the issue is, at this level, you're going to get punished. And while it can be good in certain positions, those first 10, 15 bullets of the Negev are not accurate. And that means, you know, that, oh, wow, did you see that smoke? Chris J drops a smoke in the lobby, and it fades a Molotov that lands in the hut because it clips through the wall. That's such a sick little detail. Sorry to cut off the point, but that was such a quick round. He doesn't even throw the smoke into the hut that would obscure his vision. It just burns the molly through the wall and makes it extinguished. So I'm stealing that one.
Yeah, maybe we can run that back. Maybe we can take a look at it. We can get, you know, got a whole team of people that work on replays.
But yeah, going back to the Negev, yeah, the first 10, 15 bullets aren't accurate. And at that point, if you're spraying that in a pro match, you're going to get headshots. So, you know, it's good past that point, but getting to the accurate part of the Negev is, I think, just a bit too much to ask for. And also, you know, no one's messing around with that gun in pro play. You know, when you have an AK, you know what you're doing, you know how to use it. And there you go. That's what the AK can do. You can't do that with a Negev.
Have you tried?
I guess not. I guess you're right after all.
And there it is. All the logic has been broken down, at least in this matchup. It's just 3 members alive for OG, trying to keep Mousesports from finding at least map point here in this series. You hear the glass breaking in lower sight.
Yeah, no more than one. Chris J was on the roof. About it. What a ballsy play to flank outside. Does meet a player there, but only one and done. And now Mousesports in a 3-on-2.
Oh. But if one man could get you believing in this round, I think it's going to be Mantu. He's been looking so good on this AWP. And together with Issa, they've cleared out the lowest site. Now, what does this mean in the grand scheme? Not much. You know, the information comes in, but it's already pretty crystal clear where this is looking to end up. OG, they may as well give this a go, right? It's the last round of regulation in the next regardless, and they can do damage to Mousesports' money, whereas that's not true the other way around. So Mantu's at least going to hang around to try and put kills on the board. And like, if he's able to get out of this round with 2 kills, that's actually stellar in terms of hurting the Mousesports investment in the next. But nothing's presenting itself. No one's budging for Mouse. And he's very, very paranoid about someone holding for this exit. Now, he will remove Frozen, and you can see Mousesports know the implications of giving these guns away, so they're quick to avoid it. No real exit damage found here for OG, and it's map point for Mousesports. But let's not forget, right, even though they hit 15 first, and things might be looking up for Mouse, this has not been an easy matchup whatsoever for this squad. They were 13-6 up coming into this second half after winning the pistol, getting those early anti-ecos and rifle rounds on the board. And then OG went on an insane comeback to go from 13-6 to 14-all. And now it all comes down to this. For OG, that entire comeback, all those rounds you put together are meaningless if you don't get this round here and now.
And even then, that's when it just starts over. The round timers tick back to the start, and we play OT with 16k. Alexi B, though, he wants to get them there, and he might just, finding Rops in through the smoke. Jay still in the door. There's been a lot of lobby aggression in this half. OG have not been scared to take control of this position. Valde even with ramp flanks in the past, but right now he rotates down lower. MBK watching the cross. Minute on the clock here for Mousesports to make their magic happen. That's a big kill. Karrigan comes in, finds the timing. Frozen gets a pick in the meantime on the A site. Mantu is the only man here. Oh, he lines up a shot. So much damage and so little kills, so little time as they get closer and closer. The grenade hides his view. He can't see a thing. It's just Valde. He's gone. Frozen absolutely shuts him down on the A site with 3 kills. And it's going to be Mousesports finding the victory, 16-14. It's OG's map pick in the series, and it will elude them. A train coming up next. Will this be a 2-0? Wait.